the next thing I'm going to talk about is a Prime Video limited series called Expats, from Lulu Wang, who was the director of the 2019 film The Farewell, one of my top 10
banger.
favorite films of 2019. And it's based on Janice Y.K. Lee's 2016 novel, The Expatriates. And it's ultimately about three American women who were not from Hong Kong, but they all lived there. So Nicole Kidman, she's the lead of the show. She plays Margaret. She's a landscape architect, but also her husband's job is the reason that her family has moved to Hong Kong from New York. Sarayu Blue plays Hillary. She's an Indian American woman. She lives in the same building as Margaret, Nicole Kidman's character, but they've been friends, but there's tension between them now. You don't exactly know why. And then last but not least is Jing Yu-ju, who plays Mercy, who's a Korean American sort of 20-something working odd jobs in Hong Kong, and she makes some pretty impulsive, rash decisions that ultimately lead to tragedy for both Margaret and Hillary, those characters. And so these three women are all connected due to a very, very specific set of circumstances that I won't give away because they reveal it somewhere in the middle of the show. And so if you haven't seen it, I will stray away from spoilers so that you can maintain that element of the story. But ultimately, this is it's a pretty good show. I really enjoyed Expats. I've been meaning to get to it. It premiered, I think, earlier this year in January on Prime Video. And because it was Nicole Kidman and it seemed like an interesting story, but more importantly, Lulu Wang was behind it, I really wanted to check it out. And really, it's a story that grapples with a lot of different things. It's grappling with grief and womanhood and geographic displacement and poverty and working conditions, all sorts of big ideas. And also like this, I guess this moral conundrum of how do people move beyond tragedy? How do you allow yourself to move beyond something that could really just deter you from leading a meaningful life because it's just so crippling what that tragedy means to you. And you can tell that each of the characters in the show, they kind of feel the weight of the world on their shoulders. They're in pretty bleak circumstances. Margaret is really obsessed with the particular thing that happened to her, so much so that she kind of neglects and negates her own family. Hillary's character, she's trying to pursue a family and trying to have a child with her husband, but their marriage is definitely on the rocks because she can't quite have children. And also he's doing some other things that he probably shouldn't be doing. And she's trying to, figure out how to salvage their marriage. And then the Mercy character, she's just trying to figure out who she wants to become. She's trying to find her purpose and ultimately find what her life is going to mean ultimately. And all of these things work really well with each other. In addition to that, on the technical side of things, the show looks incredible. Lulu Wang does just such a phenomenal job in showcasing Hong Kong, which they really filmed in Hong Kong here. The cinematography was great. I love that they made both the glamorous and the more not so glamorous, unglamorous sides of Hong Kong really present in the show. You see the disparity that exists in a place like that. And it makes the experience of watching the show, I think, pretty immersive to see the scales of just how Hong Kong can be so drastically different for two different types of populations. And you get that real sense of authenticity. In fact, I found that, in watching the show, she was certainly paying homage to Wong Kar-wai and showcasing kind of the moody and romantic ways that Hong Kong can kind of be a character and a backdrop in and of itself. But again, not only focusing on that, also shining a light on the more unglamorous sides of it. And I think Expats it's a show that gets better with time as you continue to watch it. It does start off a bit slow out of the gate, but the last 3 episodes in particular were the strongest, especially once you find out what links these 3 women all together. And in fact, Lulu Wang, she had the audacity to make the penultimate episode of this show feature length. It's 100 minutes long. It's basically a movie. And it takes a bit of a pivot from the rest of the story. It actually follows the lives of the servants that exist in these women's lives and their background. And they're mostly Filipina, and the domestic workers, that exist in this world, and how they're living on the margins. And they get a real opportunity to shine in that episode. And I thought that was a really, really, really good episode. And ultimately it makes sense to focus on them again, to just showcase that disparity. I will say that, they try to hint towards like some other political things that are happening in Hong Kong right now, but a bit on a surface level. I think some of those thorny topics could have been explored a lot deeper. But the show isn't as concerned with that stuff. It only sort of glosses over those things, especially once we get to that 5th episode, that I think that they could have, probably acknowledged it a little bit more. But I guess it's better to acknowledge it than to just outright ignore it. I will give it that. But it was overall a really, really good show. And it's one of those things that if you do decide to tap into it, I would say maybe space it out, because it's pretty bleak. It's pretty sad. It's heavy. There's definitely some real weighty topics here, but overall, really solid performances. It looks incredible. You got great creators behind the scenes, and of course, just the talent in front of the camera is also really, really exceptional. So I enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend people if they're looking for something to kind of be in their feelings about. It's a great watch.
Yeah, even the poster is crazy to me. Like, I remember seeing the poster, like, that thing is beautiful. Like, it's literally just like Nicole Kidman in the middle of I don't know what it is, like a alley or something. I don't know where she was. I just remember being like, wow, that looks amazing. I can't wait to watch it. Even some of the like clips, or not clips, but screenshots from the show look great. So yeah, I've been meaning to watch it. It's definitely something I want to check out, man. So yeah, I can't wait to see what it's about.